Okay, let's just jump right in. I think if you have kids or you work with kids, you feel this constant pressure.
Oh, yeah.
It's this idea that if you aren't actively teaching all the time, with flashcards and drills, that you're somehow failing them.
It's the anxiety of our age, really. We have all this information, and we feel like we have to just download it into our kids' brains.
Right. As if they're little hard drives.
Exactly. And the research we've pulled for this deep dive shows that approach is, well, it's just not very effective.
Ineffective is a polite way to put it. I'd say it's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
For everyone. The sources we're looking at today argue that real, deep learning doesn't happen when a child is sitting still. It happens when they embody the information.
So moving, building, pretending.
Precisely. So our mission today is to explore that through the world of lions.
But, and this is the big rule for today, we are not just going to give you a list of cool lion facts to recite to your child.
No lectures. That is the ground rule.
Absolutely. We're going to set up play scenarios where the facts just appear, where the knowledge makes sense after an experience, not before it.
Exactly. Experience first, the words come second, and honestly, it's a lot more fun this way.
Okay, so let's get into the biggest one first, which seems to be imaginative play. This is more than just making stuff up, isn't it?
It is. Imaginative play is basically a simulation. It lets children figure out complex social structures without you ever having to draw a diagram.
Like the idea of a pride.
Right. You could try to explain that lions are social cats that live in family groups called prides.
And you'd lose their attention in about 3 seconds.
You would. Or you could just play it out. This brings us to the first idea. Lion pride role play.
So you grab some scarves for manes, maybe a blanket for a den.
And you assign roles. But the key is who gets which role. Because lion prides have very specific jobs.
It's not a free-for-all.
Not at all. So you have someone who is the protector, someone who is the hunter, and maybe a few little cubs. Instantly, the child is learning that lions are a team.
Which is so different from a house cat or even a tiger.
Exactly. Most cats are solitary. By just acting out being in a pride, you're teaching a huge concept in evolutionary biology. You're showing that cooperation is their key to survival.
Show, don't tell.
And you can get more detailed with it. In the wild, the females do most of the hunting. The males protect the territory. So the roles you assign can teach the real science of how they live.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we've covered the social side. What about where they live? The habitat.
Right. So we move from role-playing ourselves to what we call small world savanna play.
This is where you use little toy animals?
Yep. In a tray with some sand, maybe some dried grass, a few rocks.
A little sensory bin set up.
It looks simple,
Yeah.
but it's really a lesson in geography and resources. The key is the questions you ask. You don't say, the savanna has a dry season.
You ask something like,
Oh, the lions look thirsty. Where can they find some water?
and in a savanna, that's a real problem to solve. It's not everywhere like in a jungle.
It's a resource constraint. So if you put a little piece of blue fabric for a water hole on the other side of the room, the child has to physically move the lions to get there. They're learning about scarcity.
They're acting out the search for resources.
Yes. And then you can say, oh no, it's the dry season. And you just fold the blue fabric in half.
The water hole is shrinking.
Exactly. And now the animals have to crowd together. Maybe there's some conflict. The child understands competition for resources just because you folded a piece of cloth.
Which leads right into the other big resource, food. The zookeeper play idea.
A classic. The child is caring for their toy lions, and sooner or later they have to figure out dinner.
And every kid tries to feed their toy predator a piece of broccoli.
They do. And that's your moment. You don't just say, no, lions don't eat that. You say, let's look at their teeth. Are those broccoli-eating teeth?
You guide them to their own conclusion.
And suddenly you've taught the concept of a carnivore. Not as a vocabulary word, but as a solution to a problem. The toy lion is hungry, and it needs meat to survive.
I love that. It's all about solving problems. Now, let's shift to movement, because kids have a ton of energy, and so do lions. But they use it very differently.
Very differently. And moving is so important for kids to understand animal behavior. Plus, it helps them regulate their own bodies, which is a nice bonus for parents.
I saw this one in the notes, lion hunting games. My first thought was, oh, great, we're just going to make them wild. But it's actually about control, isn't it?
It's all about control. You see, lions aren't long-distance runners. They don't have the endurance of a wolf.
Right. A wolf will just wear you out.
Exactly. Lions rely on power and surprise. It's all about the stalk, the weight, and then that explosive burst of speed.
So how do you turn that into a game?
You play stalk and pounce. The challenge is for the child to creep across the room as slowly and quietly as possible.
Which is so hard for a little kid.
It requires incredible self-control. You can say, don't let the dry grass crunch under your paws. And then only the last moment, you give a signal for the pounce, a short, fast run.
That's great because you're teaching the biology that they run in short bursts, up to 60 kilometers an hour, but also teaching the child how to slow their own body down.
It's physical regulation.
Yeah.
And it ties into another game, day versus night.
Because lions sleep a lot.
A huge amount, sometimes 20 hours a day.
Living the dream.
It's just very energy efficient.
Yeah.
So you have a card with a sun on it and one with the moon. Sun card up, we act like lions in the day.
You lie on the floor.
Yep, sprawled out, big stretches, big yawns. It's a wonderful way to bring calm to a room. But then you flip to the moon card.
And that's when they're active.
Right. They often hunt at night or twilight. So night is for sneaking, for listening, for quiet, focused movement. You're teaching them about daily rhythms.
Okay, let's talk about building. I loved making forts as a kid, and I guess I was actually doing some early biology.
You were. Construction play is where engineering meets biology. We call it building enclosures and shelters. Use cushions, blocks, cardboard boxes, whatever you have.
And the goal is to make a home for the lion toys.
But you, the adult, act as the environment. You add the problems. You say, ooh, the African sun is so hot today. Where is your lion going to find some shade?
So they have to build a roof. They have to think about shade and shelter.
Exactly. Or you ask, is there enough room for the whole pride to rest together?
Space requirements.
And safety. How will you keep the cubs safe? The child builds a wall or a boundary, and in doing so, they're acting out the male lion's role of protecting a territory.
It makes habitat a design challenge, not a vocab word.
Yes, they are solving real biological problems. Let's move on to creative play, because making art forces you to notice things you might otherwise miss.
Like the mane.
Like the mane. An easy activity is just creating lion manes on a paper plate with yarn or leaves or strips of paper.
And while they're gluing things on, that's when you talk about it.
That's the moment. You ask who has the big fluffy hair, the mommy lion or the daddy lion?
Usually just the males.
Right. You can talk about why. It's not just for looks. It's partly armor to protect their neck when they fight.
But it's also a signal, isn't it?
It's a huge signal. A darker, fuller mane means a healthier, stronger lion. It's like a billboard that says, I'm a great choice for a mate and a bad choice for an enemy.
So when a kid chooses the dark brain yarn over the yellow, they're making a choice about their lion status.
They are. And the same thing applies to our Cub Spots art activity. A lot of adults don't even know about this.
I have to admit, I didn't. Lion cubs are born with spots.
They are. Faint little rosettes like a leopard. It's camouflage to help them hide in the tall grass.
But they disappear as they get older.
Exactly. As they grow into apex predators, they don't need to hide anymore, so the spots fade.
So an art project could be painting spots on a cub and then later painting lightly over them to show them growing up.
It's a perfect way to show growth and change over time. And for the really little ones, there are sensory trays.
Right, with different textures.
Dry grass, smooth water beads, rough rocks. You're not just playing, you're building vocabulary. Words like rough, dry, hot. You're giving them the language of scientific observation.
I like that. Okay, now for the part that might make some parents feel a bit more academic, sorting and comparing.
But still through play, no worksheets. This is about building the foundations of critical thinking. A great one is simply lion versus tiger.
The big debate.
You just take a pile of toys or pictures and sort them into two groups.
This one has stripes.
This one has a mane.
This one lives in a jungle.
This one lives on the open plains.
This one lives alone.
This one has a big family. And just like that, you've taught comparative biology, habitat, and social structure just by making two piles.
But that's amazing. Then you have things like food chain matching.
Super simple. 3 cards. Grass, zebra, lion.
The zebra eats the grass, the lion eats the zebra.
It's the flow of energy. Predator, prey, producer. It shows nature's balance without a lecture.
And you're finally sequencing their life cycle.
Just ordering pictures. A tiny cub, a playful young lion, a full-grown adult. But the secret here is to talk about play. You point to the picture of the young lions wrestling and say, look, that's how they learn to hunt. They play fight.
Just like the child is playing right now.
Exactly. It validates their own play as important, serious work. It connects them directly to the animal kingdom.
Okay, I want to pause here for a second because I can hear the question in every parent's mind right now. We've talked about playing with sand and yarn and cushions, and that little voice says, is this really enough? Are they actually learning?
It's such a valid question. We're all conditioned to think learning has to look a certain way. But let's just recap what we've covered without a single worksheet.
Okay, let's list it out.
You've covered biology, habitats, life cycles, camouflage, animal adaptations like manes, daily rhythms.
Check.
You've covered physics and engineering, building stable structures, thinking about shade and heat, resource management.
Okay.
You've covered social science, family structures, cooperation, territory, social hierarchy.
And a ton of new language.
A huge amount. Words like pride, stock, savanna, predator. But they aren't just words they memorize. They're concepts they have physically experienced.
So when you look at it that way, it's actually a really deep and comprehensive lesson.
It is foundational learning. This is what early learning is supposed to look like. When a child embodies knowledge, it sticks in a way that just hearing a fact never will.
So the message is, trust the play.
Trust the play. Don't feel like you have to lead with the facts. Let the play happen and wait for their questions. Follow their curiosity.
That feels like a much better way to go. So, as a final thought for people to take away, you have one more cool fact for us.
I do. The next time your child is roaring, remember this. A lion's roar isn't just random noise.
It has a purpose.
It has a very specific purpose and design. Because of the shape of their vocal cords, their roar is incredibly efficient at traveling long distances. On a quiet night, you can hear a lion's roar from 8 kilometers away.
Wow, that's almost 5 miles.
It's their way of staying in touch with the rest of the pride across a vast territory. It's long-distance communication. So when your child is roaring, they're not just being loud, they're practicing.
I will try to remember that next Saturday morning. This has been fantastic. Thank you. And for everyone listening, you are doing a great job. Keep trusting the play.
Absolutely. See you next time.